Hello and welcome back. Now, early on in Survivor, we're finding out that what they lack in days, they're making an overabundance of advantages and twists, which we will see a lot of in episode 3, where we start off at the Yesa tribe, where Liana is the first one up and she's getting emotional at the last tribal council vote. She's frustrated because the Xander vote would have been perfect and they had the opportunity, but they went the quote-unquote safe route and voted out Voce. She feels it could be $1 million mistake.
I've made a huge mistake.
But she's going to keep pressing forward, focusing on the game, yet when she tends to the fire, she doesn't see the beware advantage that's sitting right there. Instead, Tiffany wakes up and snags it. The three women go to the beach and open it to read the advantage. It says that there will be a boat coming to their camp later on tonight, and Tiffany has to sneak off and get into the boat where she will be taken somewhere to make a game decision. Failure to do so will force Tiffany to lose her vote at the next tribal council. Tiffany is excited while Liana is frustrated again because she was right there and missed getting the advantage.
Well, all right, just show off. Yeah, well, great. Happy. I'm so happy for you.
Now over at Ua, there seems to be some team bonding at the beach where people are laughing and joking around, and everyone is having a good time except for Brad, who wakes up and starts doing chores immediately, like tending to the fire or collecting wood and stuff. While Brad is being responsible, he finds the same advantage as Tiffany, and Brad is
happier than a camel on Wednesday.
Hump day.
Now over at Luvu, there's some team bonding happening at the beach as well. This is where Sydney is telling Danny and really the whole tribe about what Naseer said the night prior on wanting Danny out. Everyone got a good chuckle out of this one, except for Naseer, who is watching everyone in the background at the tribe.
We'll just get rid of Bullet. Toodles. What's that?
When everyone was at the camp, that's when Sydney spies the beware advantage in the pot. She was trying to play it cool, but she said screw it and just went up and grabbed it in front of everyone. Unlike Tiffany and Brad, Sydney was pretty annoyed about getting this advantage and opening it up. She knew she had to go because she didn't want to give up her vote, even though it seems that everybody is on board with getting Naseer out. This whole Naseer storyline of people being skeptical of him in the first episode and then can't live without him in the second episode and now wanting to vote him out this time, it is a roller coaster in only 7 days. One thing I want to bring up is that the advantages for each tribe was just plopped out in the open. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to make the game a lot more exciting, a lot more quick paced because of how short of days there are, and they want to really shake up this game in so many ways, but it feels so produced. And I really enjoyed Survivor because it didn't feel overly produced, but to have advantages right on the campfire, out in the open for everybody, and it just doesn't feel like it was warranted or really achieved in some way because it was just plopped down in front of everybody. It feels manufactured. I don't necessarily like this twist and how it goes on, but I'm still open-minded. I'm still finding it very interesting in this game. I just wasn't as thrilled with how heavy-handed they are with these twists so early on and getting everybody to meet in random different situations and putting them in different prisoners' dilemmas. Now, before we can get to our nightly boat rides, we go back to Ua where everyone is hunting for idols. No one can seem to find it, and of course they can't because Brad and Jeannie found it, which they said 30 minutes earlier than I'm guessing this moment right here.
Oh, Jeannie.
The editing for Survivor, it looks like they're trying out this like flashback edit where we jump into a conversation, then we go back and forth between the conversation or event that they are talking about and someone talking about the event. They did it for Sydney talking about Naseer, and now Brad with finding the idol. It's interesting and different. At points though, I feel like I'm watching a Family Guy episode.
Yeah, this sucks worse than that time I was on Survivor. How dare you wash your clothes in our drinking water, BB?
Brad makes a decision to tell Shan about his idol and then tells her about the beware advantage about the boat coming to camp that night. Shan is conflicted because that means Brad trusts her completely, but Shan is wary of how many advantages Brad has now. Does she keep working with him or cut him before it gets too far into the game and he becomes very dangerous? At night, Brad puts together a makeshift dummy so people think that he's still there, and so I get to use another Ferris Bueller reference, which I'm not mad about.
Bless his little heart.
The three of Brad, Sydney, and Tiffany all make their way to a new beach with a new prisoner's dilemma. If all three players pick tarp, then they will receive a tarp. If all pick steal a vote, then they all lose their vote. If there's a split decision, whoever picked steal a vote would get the advantage, and whoever picked tarp would be SOL. Sydney voices that she doesn't really want to risk anything, and she's good with picking tarp, where Tiffany is salivating at the thought of getting a steal a vote. Sydney is not a fan of Tiffany on their first encounter and conversation here, and the feeling is mutual on Tiffany's end towards Sydney.
And while I appreciate your firm's hard work, I'm sure you'll understand when I say I hope we never meet again.
A feeling that I assure you is mutual.
The next morning, the trio make their way to their tribe's tree mail. In surprising fashion, Tiffany says she chose tarp, but doesn't see one. I thought for sure she was going to pick steal a vote. Sydney picked tarp and wasn't surprised she didn't find one, and Brad was the only one to make out with an advantage as he got a steal a vote. Now he just hopes that Lulu found their idol so he can ensure his idol works, but also he could have his vote if somehow Ua would be heading back to tribal council.
Huge steaming ball of foreshadowing.
That's a great segue into our tribes meeting up with Jeff for this week's immunity challenge. Jeff holds a small Q&A where Brad butchers his secret idol phrase.
You know, oh, sorry, Brad.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. You know, I was hoping it was the salt water, but the fact is I'm just turning into a little bit of a twig and it's kind of a fuzzy top. I feel like a broccoli. I feel like a little broccoli tree, I guess.
Then Xander says the thing about the butterflies again.
Truly believe that butterflies are dead relatives saying hi.
Wow.
And more crickets from Luvu. They don't seem to be in any rush to find their idol. Jeff then goes into telling everyone about this week's immunity challenge, which is a water obstacle course as you make your way onto land where you use sandbags to get on discs. The first two teams to get all their sandbags on what looks like to be a small stairway chandelier wins immunity and fruit. Luvu sits Erica and Heather while Jeannie sits for Ua, and then we get it on.
We'll get it on.
This challenge starts off like the other two previous immunity challenges on the season so far. Luvu gets to an early lead with Ua in second while Yessa pushes up the rear. But once everyone got to land and opened up their sandbags, that's when the real competition began. Yessa actually took the lead when Tiffany got the first sandbag to land on a target. Ua had the most trouble as Ricard couldn't hit any of the targets, and despite JD doing his best Rajan Rondo, he couldn't get any to land either.
It's okay, no NBA, just come on, you got this.
But he never elevated.
Brad was able to get Ua back into the challenge, getting 3 bags in a row. It was a tight race coming down to a final few sandbags. Deshaun was able to land the final sandbag on a target, giving Luvu first place yet again with immunity and a big old plate of fruit. Xander then gets the final sandbag on his target for Yessa to finally get them their first win. He probably saved himself in the process, so that all worked out well for everyone, except for Ua, who is heading to their second tribal council of the season. Now, back at the Ua camp, Brad is a bit worried because he doesn't have a vote. He's wanting to put in motion a plan to get JD the unanimous vote at tribal, so Brad does not have to worry about his vote because it wouldn't have mattered anyways. Now, things get interesting when nature calls for JD. He goes to the bathroom and then comes back where Chantel can easily see a piece of paper sticking out of his pants. He then has to come clean to Ricard and Shan, whose trust in JD is now waffling. JD wants to show trust in them and build it back up, so he gives his extra vote advantage to Chantel to hold on to past this tribal council. Now the vote rests solely in Chantel's hands. Does she blindside JD and take off with his advantage, or take a shot at Brad, who is a sitting duck with his pockets filled to the brim with advantages? We are left on this question as Ua arrives at tribal council. Jeff starts by asking whether Ricard will vote to keep the tribe strong or vote with personal alliances in mind. Ricard answers personal alliances. JD then is the metaphor wizard, comparing trust to crystals and not wanting to drop them. Then he likens the choice of voting him out now would be like scratching a mosquito bite. JD then gets into a very personal story about his upbringing where he was skinny and bullied, but he found solace in Survivor.
Survivor built me up. Skinny and nerdy and short and not cool, and I was bullied a lot. I would go home and I could turn on the TV and I would watch Survivor. I could live vicariously through Ozzy and Malcolm. You know, why do you think I wear the necklace and I quote woo so much?
Get a fat dip of that guac.
And after that moment, we get straight to the vote, and it feels just like last week with Voce. We get a heartfelt speech by someone on the chopping block. This would be rough to see JD leave this game after being so vulnerable. This time though, the advantage master is voted out as Brad leaves by a vote of 3-1.
country boy back to the ranch.
With Jeannie now being on the wrong side of the votes in 2 tribal councils they've been to. And with Jeff snuffing out Brad's torch and him walking out into the abyss, that's where this episode ends. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What did you think about the immunity challenge? What do you think about the vote out of Brad? Do you think they should have went with JD or Jeannie? Let me know that in the comment section below. Are you surprised Yesah won? And what do you think about the new prisoner's dilemma, about the tarps and the steal a vote? Are you surprised Tiffany didn't pick steal a vote? What would you have done in that moment? Let me know anything and everything you thought about this episode down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more Survivor content, more content in general. But until then, peace.